I try to get the kids in my class who come to do art to like actually like try and do art, and they just want to sketch,
Dude, at least
or just mess around with the paint.
at least those kids want to do that stuff. I'll walk by like the art classes and talk to the art teachers and stuff, like singing or music or whatever. The first thing they tell me, they're like, dude, it's hard to get kids to be creative nowadays. Like kids can't think outside of like the rigid like
X
YouTube,
square, circle, triangle, like
texting and stuff like that. Like, don't get me wrong, like I'm not talking smack about that stuff.
they have imagination. They just can't be creative. It's like there's a barrier to entry.
They're consumers. You know, we're all consumers, but especially them. You give them a phone, they're gonna be scrolling for hours, and then that's what's it's tough for us because we want them to be the makers, the creators, you know, the media makers. But they're the opposite. They're consuming so much that it's just hard for them to try to be original. And when they try to be original, they try to copy. Yeah, exactly.
They go back to what if we did a Fortnite, or what if we did Minecraft?
And then it's funny because again, I don't know if this is an idea that's been brewing in my head, but I feel like they're so critical of each other because of that consumer culture, like Yelp. I'm not saying they even use Yelp, but like they're very critical.
Instagrammed.
Comments, all this stuff. They are so critical of everything to the point where, like, even if they had an inkling of a slight desire of like trying to do something novel or new or something or learn something, the fear of that like critique is so high. The fear of that failure, of the critique of the failure, is so high that they just won't do it.
So check this out. My first day at our school, just our school, there was an almost fight between three girls. No punches were thrown, but you had the crowd saying fight, 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 and you had the three girls, making nasty faces and talking trash. No punches were thrown. Since then, there has not been a fight at our school, and we have like 50 to 100 dudes with Edgar haircuts who like act real tough. They love to like do this. They love to put each other in headlocks, and joke around, but they're all friends. Like none of them are going to get into a fight with each other as far as I can see. And I don't think what you're saying, like the embarrassment is so much higher of a threat than the actual violence itself.
Yeah.
That they are not willing to risk getting into a fight because if they lose, they'll be embarrassed. And
because it'll be filmed, it'll be shared, it'll be like they'll become pariahs, bro.
So they actually can't fight.
So they don't engage in anything. Like, and it's crazy because there are kids that are it sounds cliche, but like the kids that are really like gonna be legit later on in life, or that you can see that they're gonna be, are the kids that are like the outcasts. They're like the really nerdy kids, the kids that are, at least at my school, the really nerdy kids, the kids that are trying things, the kids that put themselves out there. And of course they're made fun of because they are putting themselves out there and they are failing, and maybe they're goobery or whatever, but they're doing it. And so you see a lot of these kids talk a lot of shit, talk a lot of smack. And then we have to tell them like, yo, dude, like they're actually trying it, bro. Like they're actually doing their thing. They're actually putting it out there. Like, yeah, that girl might be a goober, but guess what? She's in the cheerleading team. She's in the baseball team. She's doing her thing. She's drawing. Like, what the hell are you doing? And I know a lot of it is like, yeah, also like your parents might not let you do stuff or whatever. But at some point, like even as a kid, you have to realize like at some point you have to try something.
Yeah.
Because I highly doubt, looking at some of the kids, that they don't have like these desires to like try something new. And so like at my school, what we started doing was we started a club, like a baseball club. And I told them, like, look, I don't even play baseball, bro. I don't even play baseball. But I'm out there because I like playing baseball with you guys. So come out here, we'll learn. And it's cool because we see the progress of some of these kids trying stuff out. And like you see their confidence go up, and like you see them be willing to like try things. Because we tell them, we're like, hey, if you drop the ball, don't sweat it. Just pick it up, throw it again. No big deal. I know. I like how we just went on like an education rant, which is kind of cool, dude. Like I'm actually happy about that.
The youth of America.
Yeah, it's important. It's not an endemic or whatever, but it's I don't know. Maybe that's going on in other schools. Maybe even like into the suburbs. Maybe the kids are just every kid is on TikTok too much. Who knows?
But you know,
drop us a line if you work with kids too. Like, let us know if that's what you're seeing there too.
I will tell you this, and this is something I was thinking about this weekend. So, like I told you guys, I do EMT work, like on the side, right?
Yes.
And so, I was working with Pop Warner games on the weekends. So these are like football games that are like youth. So like from like 6 to 14. You know, not all playing at the same time because a 6-year-old versus like a 14, just getting tackled, just getting rocked, and like but one of the things I noticed. And I don't know if it's because of sports or like their families, but these are wealthier areas, right? That can afford to pay for like these teams and stuff. These kids are absolutely confident. They'll come up to me and they're like, "Hey man, how's it going?" Like, "Oh, you're the EMT? All right, cool, thanks." They're like confident talking to an adult. Like they're like, "Hey," like they'll come up to me afterwards like, "Hey man, thanks so much for helping with my finger. I really appreciate it." Like just communicating or something, because you know they'll like jam their fingers or whatever. Or like, "Hey, thanks, you really made me feel comfortable," or whatever. Or like just the way they communicate amongst each other, like, "Oh, okay, I'll run that play, like no problem," blah, blah, blah. But their confidence is through the roof. And then I look back at the kids that are in our communities and I'm like, why can't they be that confident? And I don't know if it's necessarily like the money or like, what is it? I don't know if it's the sports. Parenting, right? But it's just kind of like, I'm like, damn, the difference maker really is that confidence. It almost seems like the confidence to even just be out there. Because you'll have kids that are crying and stuff like that. But afterwards they'll recover and they'll be like, "Yeah, you know, it was just really tough, blah, blah, blah. I was really struggling." And you'll be like, "What the, like, what the hell?" The
mental awareness to know what it was.
I'm like, "What the heck?
Day. I just had to get it out. I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm fine. Like, thanks. Like, yeah, I know I puked. It felt weird, but, you know, I ate some Chick-fil-A." And then his friends will be like super supportive. It was like, "Yo, you ate some Chick-fil-A? That's crazy. I wish I threw up some Chick-fil-A." You know, like, I'm like, what? Like, as an educator, I guess, like, it'd be cool to be able to bring that to like some of these kids because there's a lot of like talent in our communities, you know?
And we were talking about earlier, like those with something to offer, you know, being stepped on. But like, what if you like have less to offer, to put it lightly? Like, yeah, these kids who have the confidence to try things and, you know how to talk to adults, they are going to be given all the opportunities that the kids who aren't putting themselves out there are going to be, you know, given low paying jobs, low opportunities to move up.
Yeah.
Because you have to have some type of foundation.
Yeah. And you have to be willing to fail. And I think I know that's a lesson that I've been learning really, like, in my adulthood, dude, like the learning even about myself, like this whole idea of like the fear of failure, of like the fear of putting myself out there, you know, like, and it's crazy because it's not solely specific to me as well. Like you see it in certain like other people that I know and stuff like that. Like just kind of like, damn, okay. Like, and I also wonder how much of that is like an immigrant thing, right? Like growing up in a family where like you're one of like the hopes to step outside of like of like poverty, for example, right? And like trying to live up to that while like you have to toe a line. You have to really navigate that like line of almost perfection or like doing things right because you don't want to fall back. You don't want to fall back 5 steps back from being poor, you know, like, you know, so I don't know. It's just a trip. Like it kind of brings me back to the Blue Beetle, bro.
Yeah.
The Blue Beetle, man. Hey, shout out the Blue Beetle. Well, everyone, thank you for listening and watching. This has been Raul.
DJ PJ.
We hope to see you with us again.
Come back for more.
Just come back.
Like, subscribe, do all that.